This wouldn't be a very good podcast about collecting stuff if I didn't dedicate an entire episode to Pokemon cards. The first set from the Pokemon trading card game was released in Japan in 1996. And as of November 2025, according to the Wikipedia, there are 125 sets for the game itself. That's almost as many sets as there are Pokemon in the first Pokemon game. These things are still releasing today, and as of right now, they're all incredibly difficult to obtain. Demand is outpacing supply, scalpers are buying up every little shred of cardboard they possibly can to try and flip it on the open market, and people like me who just want to relive a little bit of nostalgia are finding themselves entering into a hobby that is just full of headaches. It's not all doom and gloom. If you know where to look, you can find sets for a reasonable price, sometimes even at MSRP. Oh my gosh, could you imagine paying MSRP for something? But I've taken an indefinite pause on this hobby for myself because it got to a point where it was more about finding the days and times to go pick up cards than it was about what was actually in the card packs themselves. That is what we're going to be talking about today, the overall state of the Pokemon card collecting hobby. And even though I've taken a break, my guest today is somebody who I think he's honestly about to take a break, but he's been engaged in it a lot more than I have since I've exited the hobby. He has been an absolute staple of the gaming community for over a decade now, 14 plus years since he posted his first YouTube video on the ZackScottGames YouTube channel. Please welcome ZackScottGames. All right, ZackScottGames, welcome. Who are you and what do you collect?
Hey, I'm Zack Scott from ZackScottGames, and I collect a lot of things, but I think I'm here to talk about Pokemon cards because I've been doing streams about them somewhat recently. And I guess I forgot what the show's called, but I'm glad to be here.
That's okay. Your early days, just for the listening audience. I didn't tell him the name of the show. I literally just invited him to my new podcast. He doesn't know the name yet, and I'm actually not going to say it because I think I know what it is, but I haven't 1,000% committed yet. Isn't that fun?
It's the Collector's Corner.
It's not. Nope, that's definitely not what I'm going to do. Not anymore, anyway. Man. So I wanted to start by just asking you, why did you get into this right now? I think the timing is interesting because at the time of recording this, we've seen a lot of very interesting footage go viral on the internet of mad people in Costco and in front of vending machines and things of that nature. You chose an interesting time. Is this your first time collecting? Or are you getting back into it? And why now?
So with Pokemon cards, no, I'd never collected them before. What do you have? When did I start doing videos on those, you know? Like, just I can check myself. It was earlier last year. It was like late last year, maybe.
Which was the set? What was the set that you started like getting into?
Stellar Crown. It was November of last year. And it was just kind of one of those things where I'm sure you can relate as a content creator, YouTuber. You're always looking for something new. And, you know, I played the Pokemon games on my channel and those did pretty well. And my friend Jordan, aka Xanator, suggested that hey, you should open Pokemon cards on stream, you know, and see how that goes. And in his mind, it was just like a one-time thing. But I kind of have, I don't know what it's like, compulsive, addictive personality. I don't know what you would call it. Whatever drives the collector bug in a way. And so when I did it, I kind of enjoyed it. And I was like, oh man, I got to do more. And then like right after that, Stellar Spark or Surging Sparks came out. So I was like, okay, I'll get those. And then it just kind of went from there where I'm buying like different boxes and different EX sets or whatever and just streaming them. And I enjoy streaming because I get to communicate with the audience. Over time, I grew tired of the Pokemon card aspect of it. I just really enjoy connecting with the viewers, and opening cards is something to do during that process. But I could be doing anything, like playing games or whatever. Yeah. It's a gaming channel, right? But yeah, so that's kind of how I got started. And then I think what happened is people took note. They were like, "Whoa, ZackScottGames is in on this. We got to start buying those," and then start selling out. It was crazy.
I did want to just confirm whether or not I influenced this at all, because I remember I had started and then you and I were talking about it and I was trying to recall if I am partially to blame for this or not.
Yes, you can take some of the blame. That would help.
Okay. I'm sorry.
yeah, because I remember now. I had forgotten, but yes, you and I were talking, and then you were also into Pokemon cards, so I took that as like further like assurance that I should go ahead and do this.
I also started around the time Stellar Crown was already out. It had been out for a while, and for whatever reason, my feed just started blowing up with people opening packs, and I don't know why. It was like a hive mind. Everyone just got interested in this at the same time. It feels like. So
yeah,
I was going to buy Surging Sparks or whatever it was that interested me, and you know what it was? It was 151. And that had already been out for a while, but I learned of its existence, and that was my era. Like the original 151 are the Pokemon I fully remember. I know all their evolution lines, all that stuff, and I'm like, wait, they have a novelty like kind of set that goes back to that. Like I gotta have it.
Yeah, and I didn't know of any of the existence of any of that stuff. I just went to Target and I texted Jordan like, hey, they have Pokemon cards here. Like, what should I get? And I sent him a picture. And he told me like what to get, and so I bought like a ETB and some loose packs of Stellar Crown, and then I did like a 2-hour stream later. And so, and he was like, "This is great because the next set's coming out like next week." I'm like, oh, "Okay, cool." And I didn't realize they like release sets every 2 months.
I didn't either.
So. Yeah, and I kind of got just in the flow of, a new set's coming out, let's showcase some stuff, something's coming out. And then I kind of caught the collector bug and like I don't know, what I don't know if you have like a name for like the compulsion that is around that, but I feel like I have that with different things.
You think it's a bit obsessive?
Yeah, I do. And there's something about it. Like it kind of scratches that itch a little bit, like doing Pokemon cards and like putting them in folders, and then like, oh, I have these and I have this set, and some of these are rare, some of these are valuable, so, and never mind how much money I spent to get them, but some of them are valuable and I have them now, and not a lot of people have them. So
I wanted to ask about that too, because here's where I'm at. I stopped. I hard stopped. Because of how out of control it got. We got to a point where, because what I was doing to get my cards was GameStop was a very reliable way to pre-order sets until it wasn't. And as soon as GameStop said, we're not doing that anymore, that was where I drew the line. And I'm like, well, then I'm not playing anymore. But
yeah,
you're still doing streams where you're opening these packs. So for me and anyone else who's maybe not into this right now, like, what's the state of things? Are you getting these things MSRP? Are you managing to find any deals, or are you just taking out lines of credit for Pokemon cards at this point?
So I mean, the things that I have lately that I've showcased, they're not as plentiful as what I was once showcasing. I could just get all these sets off of eBay or at the store or whatever. I was, like the premium collection, the ultra premium collection, stuff like that. So what I typically do now for the latest stuff is I have a college boy who gets them for me, and he kind of does it like a side hustle. But I don't think of him as a scalper because he just orders them online and he doesn't so he just like buys them and then he goes to like the trade shows and stuff. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe he's a scalper, but is it really that bad? He gives them to me very close to MSRP.
Okay.
And sometimes even at MSRP, and just depending on how many he orders and where, because he does have to like meet me somewhere, and he goes to college, so it's not like his full-time thing. It's kind of like a side gig.
I gotta be honest. This is sounding so suspicious. Okay, so I have this college boy. I gotta meet him somewhere. He gives me a very reasonable price. What?
Yeah, they're pretty reasonable. And one time he even gave me a box for free.
Okay, that's pretty generous.
I was surprised. It was a Charizard EX box, and so now I have two. Though I also have a bunch of stuff I haven't even opened that I bought that I haven't opened because like the streams go for like 2 hours, and I'm just like done. I'm just like, oh, I'm tired of opening cards. This is getting repetitive and boring. and so like if you look at any of the streams, they rarely go over 2 hours. I think maybe my latest one went like 3. It was the Black Bolt and White Flare because I like double the amount to open. So I got those from him. And also like a local comic store sells them and they have limits.
Okay.
And sometimes my Target has them too and they have limits. So I usually just, if I see something at either the comic store or at Target, I'll just buy it because I mean I'm limited to how much I can buy anyway, and then I'll eventually open it on stream. But I seriously have like my room is like full of stuff like in boxes and that I just haven't opened that I do plan on eventually opening. But also, I mean, like I don't know if I enjoy it anymore, so I don't know what's gonna happen.
Well, what would you say is hurting your enjoyment of it after all this time?
Oh man, it just feels pointless.
Oh,
It just feels like it's like never ending. It's like they made it. It's like their catchphrase is "got to catch them all," but like they make it impossible. And then they don't print enough to do that unless you buy them like secondhand or aftermarket or whatever. And then like they even like some of the sets they made more even harder to get the master set up because like I feel like a little bit of a like I need to complete the set if I'm going to collect them. And so it took me forever to finish Stellar Crown. I almost finished all of Obsidian Flames, but then like you said, they started selling out like a lot.
yeah.
And so they're hard to find. So like finishing them would mean buying off of eBay, buying a huge amount off of eBay, and then buying singles off of somewhere. Yeah, it's really taken off. I guess I'm happy for them.
that little company is going to go far, I think.
Yeah.
Buying singles, it has been, I think, the number one piece of advice for people who genuinely just want to like collect to complete a set and not necessarily like because they love the thing I love, which is like opening a pack and hoping you get that big pull. I'm only from doing that. I'm very close to completing 151. And I've gotten to a point several times where I'm like, I should just go on like TCG Player or something and buy the last few cards I need. And I just don't. I don't know why, but I haven't completed a single binder since starting. Months and months ago, and there's no excuse for it because I know exactly where I would go and what it would cost to do that, and it's not as bad as what it would cost to try to do it just through ripping.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you completed Stellar Crown though,
and I did that how you said. I went to that website and bought singles. I also went to a local store that sells singles, and I bought single. I went there first, and then what they didn't have, I just ordered online from that TCG Player website, and then I finished that set. And I was going to do it with Obsidian Flame. I just never got around to it. And again, it just like was the other part is like I also feel compelled to like catalog my collection, and that was taking forever. So I was just like I was spending way too much time and money collecting this stuff and storage, like in space in my room. It's like, come on.
Yeah, it takes up a ton of space. Just especially the boxes, which are pretty high quality. It's like it feels bad throwing those out.
Yeah,
but they fill up a shelf fast.
Yeah, and so the other thing though is like I was never really that nostalgic for Pokemon. I didn't watch it or play it growing up. I only played the games, relatively recently on my channel when they came out, and those, that's how I know Pokemon is through the games, and mostly the recent games. Like the 3DS games and then the Switch games. So yeah, I don't have like as much of attachment or nostalgic connection to it as a lot of people have. And so, like when I open up the cards, I don't really feel a lot like when I get like a certain Pokemon. So I don't really have a favorite Pokemon. So everyone asks me my favorite Pokemon, and I just like basically say Pikachu because I just really don't know.
I relate to that just from the content creation aspect because I did the same thing. I would open them on stream on a channel that has nothing to do with Pokemon card openings. just something I'm doing, watch it or don't. And that question would come up at least a few times every stream. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I probably told them something, but I don't really have a favorite of much. I don't even have a favorite color, I don't log favorite things in my life. So they're asking me about Pokemon. I'm like, there's like 1,000 of them now. I have no idea. I don't know everybody. I will tell you what, if I get a card that looks really cool, that'll be my favorite for like the stream.
Oh, right. Yeah. And so did you grow up watching the show?
A little bit. I watched a good chunk of probably the first seasons of it, and I couldn't watch much because my family just hated it. They would just they couldn't stand it when I was watching that show because the characters, we weren't like a big anime household and things like that. So this was like a very weird kind of show to watch given everything else I was watching as a kid. And my mom in particular is like, I just can't stand how they just repeat their name over and over again. Like the Pokemon. And it just
Pikachu.
Yeah. If a movie was on and I watched the same movie 100 times and had the same songs or whatever, that was never a problem. But if Pokemon was on, it's like, could you watch that somewhere else? So I don't know. I got over the show pretty quick, which when I say all this out loud, it sounds kind of sad. I'll probably find a way to process that trauma at some point. But the games was really like what I was into, and I was really into Gen 1. I played through Pokemon. I had Blue version like so many times. And then I got Gold version of Gold and Silver, and I played through that one as well. And then I stopped. Like, I moved on with my interests. My friends moved on with their interests, and I missed so many generations. I came back when you said, the 3DS era. I played X and Y, and that was my first introduction back into Pokemon anything.
Yeah. And so that was my first introduction to Pokemon, like, at all, except for just being aware of it in terms of pop culture. But, like, yeah, that was my first time playing a Pokemon game was... I guess 2013.
I can't remember whatever year X and Y came out. I got it when it was like brand new, and everyone was getting it. It was weird. Suddenly, everybody I knew was just into Pokemon again. I'm like, we're playing Pokemon again? What's going on? And I've gotten a bunch of games since. I kind of played it on and off, but lately I've been super into it. I started getting to the cards, as we're talking about. The games again. I'm obsessed with the entire IP at the moment, except for I don't watch the shows. Completely obsessed with just Pokemon in general, and I don't know why all of a sudden this bit me again so hard.
Well, I hope that you make it through.
I've dropped off the card collecting bandwagon for now. I'd love to complete Surging Sparks and 151 at some point. I really would, but I'm not going to pay over MSRP for it, and the more time goes on, the less of a choice I'm going to have. So I don't know what my plan is.
I get that though. Like the reason, like, so the college guy I get it from, you know, obviously he has to go through the trouble of ordering them and then like meeting me somewhere with them. So I feel like that, and it's cheaper for me than Facebook Marketplace even. So, and even eBay. And so I kind of just like, well, I mean, there has to be some sort of cost increase because he is like delivering them to me.
Right.
so that's just kind of like how I justify it, you know, and it's not like the guy who's like buying up all of them he says he doesn't go to any of like the physical stores. So he's not like buying up all of them, you know, at the store in front of like kids, you know, like while kids are waiting in line. So it's not like that or anything. And so I've justified it in my mind enough, and I don't have to defend myself anymore.
Do you feel though, because what you're getting at is something that I've kind of worried about for myself. Do you feel like there is a stigma when just random guy is standing there waiting for them to like put the Pokemon cards out on the shelf, standing next to like a dad and their kid or something?
Yeah, and that's part of the thing. Is like I don't know who to blame exactly. I almost just want to blame, you know, the company, because why aren't they making more? Didn't they say they're going to make more?
A few times.
Like,
yeah.
The cycle feeds itself. Like if you don't print enough, the cards are going to get more, you know, rare and go up in value. Then more people are going to want them strictly because of that value, and people are going to be entering the market just because it's almost like buying a lottery ticket. Where like if I just pick up a box, I have a chance at like $500, you know. So it's
right.
Like if I can just get my hands on this box, I could very well have $500 in my pocket, you know, the next day. And so it's like, and then the cards get more rare, and then they go up in value again, and it's just like a cycle. It's just crazy to me that like the black and white, like I actually pulled the Zekrom EX card live, and at the time it was like $500. I don't know what it is right now. It's like maybe like $400. I don't know. I'd have to pull up the collector app. So
yeah, I think that's why it's such a popular thing. It's that dare I say, like, gambling aspect of it.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't call something gambling when you spend your money on it and there's no promise of a return. It's just you doing, like, opening a random box and you don't know what's inside. It doesn't promise to have money in it, though. But with Pokemon cards, it does feel like gambling again when you involve that aspect of it, of like the market value for individual pulls is pretty wild.
Yeah.
Like I've had cards, just individual cards that at the time I pulled them were worth hundreds of dollars. And
yeah,
you mentioned the collector app. I was logging everything in there, and that's how I knew the value of it. But I stopped because I don't plan on selling them. I just wanted this. I wanted to have a binder of them. I wanted to get little cases for them and display them on a little shelf. I wasn't trying to get into that whole market of it. But it is that mentality that I think for me has turned me off quite a bit, at least for now. I think I could get back into it again, but I don't like seeing the videos of people trampling each other over a Costco pallet. You know?
Yeah, that's not fun.
Yeah, I can't. I just couldn't do it. Do you? Okay, so I also blame the Pokemon Company for the lack of stock. I know there's logistics that goes into that kind of thing. They could very well be doing the best that they can, and there's only so much you can do, and the demand for something is this high. I also blame the scalping community for the stigma of just wanting to collect these if you are of a certain age group.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you if you feel as though content creators like you and I, but maybe not like you and I because we're mostly gaming focused, do you feel like content creators, though, who make their entire channel about collecting cards and things like that, have they made the hobby inadvertently worse? Not on purpose, not out of malice, but has it gotten worse just due to the fact that so much of it is popularized by YouTube, TikTok, Reels, things like that?
Definitely not me.
No, I already excluded us. Don't worry.
Yeah. Maybe you.
I did kind of help convince you to do this, so I understand.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It gets complicated because, there's all these moving parts, essentially. Like, if something becomes popular, then of course you're going to have content creators making content about that, and then it's going to feed in itself as well. The thing about a lot of these TikTok things are actual, like, people selling the cards too, which is interesting. Like, they'll open them for you and then you'll buy them. Like, they'll ship them to you. And sometimes there's a markup, and usually there's a markup on them, and they're, making content that way. And then I've seen others who are just like, they just buy a whole bunch just to, like, try to get, like, the best pools on video. Like, I'm going to open until I hit that, whatever the most desired card is of that set. Yeah. If this were like a digital thing, then you wouldn't have like a supply issue. And then it probably wouldn't be popular. Man, I don't know. But you do have people opening like the CSGO skins and stuff. I don't know.
The CSGO skins have the same kind of issue, though, where you can turn around and sell those. There's like a whole market around those.
Yeah, but there's not like when you buy, you can just go buy them. You don't have to they're not sold out. You can just go.
There's the loot box mechanic of it all, though. So
yeah,
the fewer there are on the market, the more valuable that one skin is that you really want.
Yeah.
And similar to Pokemon cards, like the more Charizards there are of this particular type on the market, the more the price will come down. So you can buy it by itself and probably save a bunch of money instead of ripping packs. But then there's the fun of ripping packs. And then if you're a content creator, it's even more like, ooh, I could put this on YouTube or TikTok and maybe get some of my money back.
Yeah, I mean, and that was kind of how I was thinking about it from a content creator perspective of doing the Pokemon cards. Is like, well, I'm gonna get ad revenue and super chats while I do this. So it hasn't made up for it, but but that is a component of it. Is like yeah, this is a business I'm doing. I'm not just collecting for fun.
It is, yeah. I think for anyone out there who does not fancy themselves a content creator, that is something that I think a lot of us on YouTube or whatever it might be, we run all that through our minds. Like, I could just open these for myself and enjoy them for me, but I could also stream it and maybe get some ad revenue from the stream. And it's tempting because that, this is an expensive hobby. And if you already have a bit of a platform, it's kind of like a why not do that situation. But I do want to add, of course, that if you're somebody who collects anything, what is the point of collecting something? It is to kind of show off, like we want people to see the things that we work hard to find or build. If you are a Lego collector and you've built an entire city in a room of your house, you probably want to show that to somebody.
Yeah, if not the public, at least like some of your select friends.
Right.
It's funny to me that we're talking about Pokemon cards with me because I do collect other things, but I don't really show them off like publicly. But with Pokemon cards, that's the thing I did on stream. But it's also probably, like, no exaggeration, my least favorite thing I've collected.
Really?
Recently, yes. So, because it just feels like I said, I don't have the nostalgic attachment to it. Also, it's a real pain to get these cards, and they're just they are just so many of them. Like I said, I didn't realize that they were going to release so many, and so and then it's really just like a compulsion. Like I'm trying to figure out, like, should I just stop? Like, should I stop now? Okay, what do I do with all this stock that I haven't opened? I had planned on opening. Maybe I could sell them to the college guy. Maybe I could do something with them. What do I do with all the stuff that I've already collected? Do I just like call it quits and just get rid of them? But what if one day they're worth even more and I have like a full master set of Stellar Crown? I want to get rid of that, would I? Okay, if I keep that one, I might as well keep all the other ones.
The sealed product is also worth a lot later down the road.
That's
too.
True. Yeah, I forgot about that too.
I guess you have a Pokemon card closet now, and there's nothing you can do about it.
That's how it feels. It feels like I'm stuck. I don't know how to get out of it. And also, since I've already done streams of like all the sets since Stellar Crown, it's like when the next set comes out, I should probably stream it.
Yeah, it kind of this is another problem with the content creation side of it. Like, there's the benefit of like maybe you make some money from just streaming it, not even selling the cards, but then you also feel obligated. Like I'm at a point where I'm losing interest in this. What am I supposed to do now? And
yeah,
I feel like any content creators listening could probably relate to that for a lot of reasons.
Yeah. I would. That's a great way to characterize it. I think I've lost interest in it, and I don't know that my interest in it was really that healthy to begin with, because, like I said, I wasn't really into it for the game or for the Pokemon themselves. It was really just like, I'll make content, and then I got into it because I felt compelled to collect.
Gosh, this is going so much more negative than I thought it would. Like, I just can't imagine pitching this to somebody like, hey, I have this podcast, and on this episode I talk about Pokemon cards. I collect Pokemon cards. I'd love to listen. And it's like two people like regretting their decision so deeply. Like, I wish I just never got into this. This is the worst decision I've ever made. Let me try to add some positivity. I got into it. I have the same kind of like thing where I'm like, I would love to just start collecting something and really like putting together a binder sounded so fun. I watched enough videos to a point where I started to really imagine myself doing this and enjoying it. And I will say I did enjoy it for the time that I did do it. And I do expect to one day go back to it. But the thing that made it even more fun was that my wife also got into it. And
yeah,
having something to do with her like that was like even 10 times more fun, because at first I'm telling her, hey, I'm kind of getting into this. And she's like, okay, that's nice. And she has like a knack for finding deals on stuff and like researching and things like that. I'm like, do you mind like maybe looking to see where people buy this stuff? Because it looks like I could get kind of like, raked over the coals here with prices. And okay, right. I'll start looking. And then she starts, the more research she does, she's like, can I get in on this? And so we'd stream together opening the packs, and that was a lot of fun. And I really think that is like what it should be like. I think anytime you get into something like this, it should be something that you genuinely can find joy in, even if there's frustrating times of like, oh my gosh, all these scalpers are raising the prices or whatever. But when you do finally get some, I hope it's something that anybody can find enjoyment in at the end of the day. I really did enjoy my time collecting it, but I get where you're coming from, because I've gotten to that point too of bitterness towards the fact that there's so many sets, there's not enough cards for everyone to go around apparently, and I just don't like it. Again, like we talked about, the stigma of going to the store to get something, and perhaps people judging me, even though I'm just a big nerd. I'm not trying to scalp. I'm not trying to do any of that.
Yeah. Do you have local comic book stores or card stores that also sell Pokemon? Because I've found a couple nearby, and they don't seem to sell out that quick. And even the one place that seems to actually like have a line formed, there are 2 times that I've been where I just like, I got there not knowing that there was a release and there was a line. And so I just got like the very back of the line. So I did not wait nearly as long as anyone else, but I still was able to get some product at the very end. So
yeah, in striking distance, I definitely have some stores, and the ones I've checked, I was disappointed in the prices. I will pay, like, I'll pay slightly over MSRP if I feel like this person is running a small business and they're taking their cut for the finder's fee, right? Like, they had to go and source this stuff at a time where it's hard to get, and they've done me a service by making it easier for me to get this stuff. So I could justify paying a little bit more. But when I say I don't like buying over MSRP, I'm usually referring to people who are way, way over, and that is the stores within striking distance to me. It's everybody was like 50%, 100% over MSRP.
Oh.
And I would kind of call them like, do you have any like Surging Sparks? And they would tell me, and they'd say like double the price. And I just kind of chuckle. I'm like, okay, thank you. And I wouldn't be mean. I just,
Yeah.
like I can't do it.
When Surging Sparks came out, one of the local stores to me, and this was before they like things got real crazy. I think Prismatic is when it like really got crazy. But Surging started kind of because people like Pikachu. But my local store had boxes of Surging Sparks, and I ended up getting one for like, it was like the lowest MSRP. I want to say like 120, 130, something like that. And so yeah, all the places I've been near me that sell them for MSRP are decent prices. The stores that I've been to haven't marked them up, but they also have limits. So they say like you can come in every day, but for each day there's this much that you can buy.
Yeah, you could tell the stores that had limits and that didn't, because it usually would be they'd get their shipment of cards in and a few people go and pick it clean.
Yeah.
And then there'd be the stores where you come in, hours after the set released or whatever, and there's still be stuff on the shelf. And without even asking, you just know there's a limit. You already know not to pick up too much because they're going to tell you, nah, you could have one of those.
Right.
So, but I appreciate that at a time where it's just so, competitive just to get this stuff. Like, it shouldn't be that hard to spend your money on something and have it. And that was what was really wild to me. I thought the fervor around Pokemon cards was more focused on the older stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I was naive to think that people weren't buying the new stuff. And I thought, I want to get into this. I'm not going to worry about the old stuff. I want to buy the newer sets because it's probably a lot easier to get them. No.
Yeah.
In fact, you probably have more luck getting the older stuff if you're willing to buy already open cards, right, that are singles and things like that.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I've never tried to buy the older stuff because again, from my perspective, it was just kind of, I thought about buying the older stuff. Like if the streams took off, like if they start getting popular, then I would like, I can go buy, I could use the ad revenue then to like get old stuff and like have, I'm opening an old box of this, but it never got to that point.
Yeah. There are YouTubers who will do that and they'll like, I spent this much. I know the old stuff is expensive, by the way. It's just the idea that the brand new stuff would also jump in price as if it's been out for 100 years and they don't print it anymore.
Yeah.
It just made my head spin. I couldn't believe a brand new set and how it would jump over the the list price so quickly.
Yeah. I guess they're still printing like even stuff that came out last year because like we were talking about the local stores and stuff. My local store just got some new Surging Spark stuff in, like the, what are the booster boxes or whatever they're called that just have the loose packs, like 48 loose packs or whatever, or 30. I don't know.
Like there's boxes you can get that just have like a bunch of packs in them, and they're usually pretty expensive.
Yeah.
But they don't come with all the extra stuff like dice and a manual and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And so I guess they just print it more. I don't know if they print them in waves. I don't know how the Pokemon company works with that, and they just like released a new set called like Masks of Ogerpon, which has like pretty much just Twilight Masquerade stuff in it, but it's a new set. And so like it has like the jumbo card of like Ogerpon, but all the packs, and there's like 10 packs of just of that set, the Twilight Masquerade.
So do you have any advice for people who are, I guess as we would say, making the mistake of getting into this today?
Well, I mean, I guess just temper your expectations. I mean, I don't know. It's not a good time to get into it if it's like brand new to you. I would almost question why. Like I wouldn't have gotten into it if it weren't from the stream perspective. And so I guess you would get into it because they're still promoting it. They're still making content. They're still making cartoons and movies and games and stuff. So like it might just make sense. Like, oh, I could get into the cards, or maybe your friend's into it. So
any cost saving tips we haven't gone over already?
Yes. If you're going to buy secondhand, get yourself a College Boy.
Oh my god. This will never be released. I was going to say, to recap, you could buy singles. That's always a very good way to get, if you have any specific wants, if you're trying to finish a collection you've already started, you can buy singles. I would highly recommend doing a search. They have a website that tells you if you have vending machines anywhere near you. So check see if you have a vending machine in striking distance. And the reason I recommend those is because from what I've heard, they are just the normal price. Like the Pokemon Company is not raising the MSRP of their own product. It's just the price. So if you can find vending machines, they get restocked kind of randomly, I guess. This is just me reading on Reddit and stuff like that. And you can get just there at pharmacies and grocery stores, and you just walk up to one and see if it has anything. And I guess my other piece of advice is maybe find a few sets that you're kind of interested in, so that if you really are if you have that desire to open something, you go to that vending machine or you go to Target or whatever it is, and there's always something for you to at least like maybe get, because you're not like fixated on one set. Because I was fixated on one set, and it was always disappointing because I could never find that thing, and that's kind of what eventually got me into some other ones. But then I wasn't choosing them very appropriately. I'm like, well, that's a set, I'll grab that. And that made me overwhelmed. And I like it when it's more focused. Like, I'm trying to collect these 3 sets, and I'm going to focus on that.
Yeah, so I guess real advice would be, if you want to try to aim to buy it at MSRP, get familiar with the different shops around you and what they carry. You know, the ones around me, they usually post on Facebook when they get new stuff in, or I just know like what times they get them in. You know, like there's a store around me. I think they have multiple stores, but I'd ask them when they get them in, and they don't actually get them in at the same time as the other stores. They get them in like later, like weeks later. And it's like, we usually get ours like Wednesday, but like several weeks afterwards. So like, but a lot of them, one of the stores I've gone to is holds official Pokemon tournaments. And they're like one of the licensed like Pokemon tournaments. So they're allowed to sell their stuff like a few days earlier. And so instead of Friday when they normally release, they'll be like available Wednesday. And so it's just kind of like getting to know like what's around you and who's selling what and when. And then also I had a friend who worked at Target, and so he would let me know when his Target got restocked. And at one point, he did buy some for me and ship them to me, but ultimately, like with the shipping costs, it just didn't really make sense. It wasn't, I was having to pay not only the sales tax, but the shipping, and it was almost like I could have just bought it, like off a Facebook Marketplace for about the same price anyway. So even though I was getting it like firsthand, or secondhand or whatever from his store, and he was shipping it to me, it was still like too expensive in my view. Like I said, I've learned that like one of the stores near me gets them on Friday. There's usually a line, but thus far I've been able to just get there late at the end of the line, and there's still product.
It's interesting. You could become kind of like a known customer at that store, and if you just talk to the people there, you might be surprised that they're willing to tell you when they get stuff in, and that could be a huge boon to you.
Yeah, and I don't have that great of relationships with any of the stores nearby, but I have been in situations before where of stores that I frequented, like comic book stores, were able to get me like comic book stuff that I was wanting because I shop there so frequently, and they had like pull lists and stuff, and you could special order and all that stuff. And that was a while back. That was not recently, but. I assume that if you're a regular at any of these places, then and that's kind of how it is with the guy that I get from at college, from the guy who goes to college who sells the Pokemon cards. It's kind of like, I'm like, hey, what all have you ordered lately? And he'll tell me, and then I'll be like, oh, I'll take some of that.
So last question for you.
Okay.
Let's just imagine a future. Fast forward into a future where you are no longer here. What do you hope becomes of your Pokemon card collection?
Oh, I don't know. I hope I can burden someone else with it, though. That like maybe they'll feel compelled to complete it.
It's just like a curse that you're going to pass along to your kids, grandkids, and generations to come.
Yeah, I'll leave a note. I'll be like, whoever gets a hold of my Pokemon card collection, you have to complete these sets. It would mean so much to me.
It's my dying wish that you complete my Searching Sparks set.
Yeah, and then
finish what I started.
You would think, like, so because I have other things I collect, like, so like a different reference that something that I much more enjoy collecting, which is like, like old Nintendo games and stuff like that. Like if someone in the future were to get those, I would hope that they would be more valuable for them, either like personally, like maybe there's like a bit of nostalgia, or like, oh, this is like an old game from way back when and it's in great condition and now I have it. It's something they can either treasure, or it's something that's valuable enough that they can sell. Because like if I get my mom's Barbies, like I don't really care about Barbies at all, and so I'll probably just try to get rid of them.
Wow.
but you know what I'm saying though, right? Like maybe I could find different people have different things that they would consider sentimental, and to me the Barbies wouldn't be it. But there are things that my mom has that I would consider sentimental that I would keep and not try to sell. But like she's collected Barbies and stuff like that, and then that kind of stuff I'd probably try to just figure out how to sell or get rid of, or give it to someone else who might actually enjoy it,
But not the Pokemon cards.
No, they have to hold on to those and complete them. They should not sell them. Please do not sell these.
Not only can they not
They'll
sell
be worth
them,
so much more.
Not only do they have to complete them, but they are also not allowed to enjoy them.
Do not.
They need to carry on the legacy in all parts. You have to complete this. You have to have zero fun doing it, and you need to keep them in a closet.
Yeah. I hope that someday they'll bring great discontent to someone else.
Gosh. All right. Well, this was probably the most negative podcast we could have done for the Pokemon card collecting community. I would like to apologize to all of you collectively. I'm sorry. And
well, I'll say a positive.
Okay.
So like, I mean, when I was streaming, I was enjoying the streaming aspect of it sometimes.
That's it?
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I mean, yeah, I did. Yeah.
Okay. All right. There you go. So it's fun.
At one point, I was wasting so much time just like driving around to like different places around the city trying to find Pokemon cards and singles. And then I get home and I'd be like, oh man, I spent like 3 hours. I could have done videos in that time.
Do you have anything nice to say about Pokemon card collecting at all?
Well, I mean, no, I totally get why people would do it. Like if they enjoyed Pokemon, like, and I do enjoy the games of Pokemon, but like the artwork is pretty cool sometimes. Like and like when you pull, there is that feeling that you described, like when you would pull a card, and then it was like, oh wow, like like this is a special card. And you're like, so anytime I see like a full art, I do feel like that emotional like kick, that like the little rush that you feel when you open up something, But a lot of that's kind of negate. Like if you buy like a whole bunch, it starts to feel like, you just open and it gets to where like I'm no longer even looking at the commons anymore. I'm only looking at like what the rare ones are, and then boom, there it is. It's like, oh wow.
Wow, chat's really freaking out about this one.
that is how it is sometimes, where it's like I don't really know that it's that good, and then like chat's like, wow.
I've been to your streams where that happens. I've also had that happen where I'm like, this looks nice, and people are like, looks nice? Do you know how much that's worth? Yeah. I'm gonna wrap it up here, but thank you for joining for the inaugural Pokemon card episode of the podcast. I think we should have you back for something else that you actually like collecting. It'd be really interesting to hear your take on something that brings you joy.
Yeah,
because I feel like we've tapped into a bit of a dark hole here.
Well, I mean, collecting in general for me is something that I've struggled with in a way, and so it was kind of like I was trying to limit the amount of things I collect, and then like Pokemon, I started doing the Pokemon thing, and I knew I was kind of on this like path of darkness, and I kept going anyway. And my wife was telling me not to, and she doesn't like it. So it was just kind of like, I dug my own grave. But, I had in the past intentionally limited the things I collected. So I could talk about that too. But yeah, there's only a few things I allow myself to collect now. And I didn't really intend to allow myself to collect Pokemon cards, but it just kind of happened. And I'm trying to think of a way out.
I think what you need to do is stream another collection so that the people don't miss the Pokemon cards when they go away. You can just be like, oh, I collect these now. These are Hummels. I really like them. And
Labubu's.
yes, we're doing a Labubu box opening stream today. I know you were expecting the new Pokemon card set, but this was really difficult to come by. All right, so I just need you to just hear me out.
Maybe I should have done it that's what I should have done. I should have said, I'm only going to open but not keep any of these.
A lot of streamers do that. They give them away. Like Pat Flynn, who has the Deep Pocket Monster channel, will do entire streams where he opens packs and he draws names off of like a big wheel or something. And he's like, all right, this person's getting all the next cards we pull. And he actually like sends them out to people.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. You should. He's like the biggest, one of the biggest people on YouTube doing that. I think you take a page of that book and then you can keep opening your packs and you don't have to clutter your home with them. Well, thank you for joining in. Thanks for taking the time. And where can people find you?
Online.
You're great. This is great content. You're great. You're good at plugging things. ZackScottGames on YouTube. It is a silly question. It's pretty easy to find you.
No, YouTube is where ZackScottGames on YouTube. I'm sometimes active on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Some people hate it. I don't like looking at it, but I like posting on Twitter. And sometimes I post on TikTok, but not really. Mostly YouTube. That's where I would go.
Thank you for listening to Sticker Shock Collector's Edition. You can learn more about this episode and our show by following us on Patreon. It's at patreon.com/stickershockpod, where you can subscribe for free to see our show notes and maybe any other images sent in by our guests featuring their collections, things like that. You can also find us on Blue Sky at Sticker Shock Pod as well. Our podcast artwork was created by Han and music by composer Cleo. We have new episodes every other week, so hopefully we'll catch you in the next one.